Hello world, welcome to Decode or Not to Code. I'm Nearly Eva and I'm super happy to be here today. And as always, I'm here with the one, the only Stefan. How are you doing, Stefan?
I'm doing great. It's good to be back.
It's good to be back. Okay, so I tried different headphones, but they didn't work. So I just swapped them super quickly. Cool. If you are new to this show, we're currently building a .NET tool. Stefan is quite the expert on this field, whereas I am very new on this topic. I have much to learn about .NET tools and life in general, I suppose. But our tool has a couple of features. The first two have to do with using directives. So they will count your local usings and then also globalize them if you would like to turn them into global usings. And we also added another feature, which has to do with the new C# 12 compiler feature, Interceptors. We had an entire episode on this, which was awesome. So if you haven't seen that, after this show, go back and watch it. That was really, really cool. It is a very experimental feature. I have to sort of stress that again, I suppose. So be careful when you use it. Use it with care. We're trained professionals. No, I'm just kidding. And our tool will find those interceptors and hopefully present them in a lovely little output. And that's also what we're starting with today. Maybe it's before, like a tiny side note, just to do some health and safety. I have a little bit of a swollen face. I just saw it and I was like, please don't, like, for our regulars, don't worry about me. I just got my wisdom tooth removed. So I'm fine. It's just a bit of a swollen face. So if you see me like touching my face or something, it's not because of the show, it's because of my face. Anyway.
Why is a wisdom tooth called wisdom tooth? Is there wisdom inside? No.
Yes, there is indeed wisdom inside, and I have one left. So I only, for all the four that everybody sort of has, I've got one left. So I'm not a very wise person, I suppose. No, they are called this because you only get them like later in life when you're already wise, right? Because your jaw sort of like gets bigger as you get older, and then the wisdom teeth come out, and so you get them when you're wise.
This explains why I never had them so far.
Well, yeah, I'm like, I'm down one, so all the other ones were removed already. So just health and safety announcement. But also, if you would like to follow us on social media and reach out and just give us your input to the show or to our code, because actually one of our fabulous viewers also helped us solve an issue that we had. Please give us a follow on Mastodon, reach out, or just, do it like Ghost Walker and just solve our problems. Fix our code. That would be awesome. Thank you so much again for helping us out and for this lovely pull request. It's really lovely to see, our viewers kind of come together and work with us on this tool. It's really, really cool. And I think, is it already time for our news section?
It is indeed.
What's new in the .NET world?
It is quite easy because, last time we have used the release calendar of .NET 8, and we have mentioned that the .NET Conf is coming up and .NET 8 is coming up, and now it's here. So the big thing is, if you haven't already downloaded .NET 8 SDK, it is amazing. .NET 8 is fantastic. It has a plethora of new features. It's also... I should have prepared better. It's also...
That was a dramatic pause.
It's also super fast, like a race car. It even has a little...
Oh my god, I love it! Is it like, it looks like a ninja, like... No, it's just a helmet, isn't it? That's so cute.
That's the .NET bot. That's the .NET bot sitting in a .NET 8 racing car.
Can you also, like, can you pull it up and race it as well?
No. It's like one. It's one thing.
Oh.
And it's like a... What's that? What's gummy in English? Rubber, yes. Do they have the .NET bot on their page? No. .NET bot. So there's also a page where you can create your own .NET bot.
Aw.
That's like the mascot of .NET. And maybe you can build your own racing car. So it's a .NET bot sitting in a .NET 8 racing car. Yeah, because it's super fast. They all come on .NET and ASP.NET Core. They all get magnificent performance improves over the years.
Yeah.
And also, one of the features that we are looking at that have been released with the .NET SDK is Interceptors. I should enter C#, shouldn't I?
Yes. C# 12.
So amazing new C# 12 features. We did have an episode with Stuart Lang on the most prominent C# 12 features, and we went quite deep into them and also tried to use hooks, how we can, with the collection expressions, also expand on these features. They are fantastic. And one of these features are interceptors. And what Eva already mentioned, they are highly experimental. So the implementation details and also the usage may change in the future anytime. But given that they are quite experimental, tooling for them is just not perfect yet. And we would like to offer a tool that helps discover these interceptors, since the tooling support is not perfect yet, given it's an experimental feature, of course. And perhaps we can fill this gap in the ecosystem until this feature is more mature, and I guess then other toolings become more mature too. It's the wrong phrasing, but just using a mature feature makes sense. Well, it's investing in a preview feature, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It is. I love your cup.
And what? Sorry, excuse me.
Your mug looked really funny. Yeah, I just feel very daring when you have like a warning thingy, and then it's like, oh, tread with care, and I'll be like, yes, that's stuff for our stream, for sure. Okay, yeah, but you were jumping into the code, right?
Indeed.
Indeed. Great.
So showing off what these interceptors are. We did show it in previous episodes. Also, there is this may be semi-shameless, if we go to .NET Conf, or perhaps let's go via the .NET, is it .NET Conf.net? I'll post a link. .NET Conf.net. You can go to the YouTube videos and we get advertisements. Okay, cool.
Great.
Excuse me for that. But there is a playlist. Can I view just the playlist? Yes. So there is more than 100 sessions about all of the stuff that is new, or most of the stuff that is new in .NET. And one of these sessions is about interceptors.
Yep.
Which.
And do we know the speaker, or
we kind
is
of
it a famous person?
No, it's me. But still, to give like in this episode a good overview, let's briefly dive into that. What interceptors are. So let's create a new project. Let's create a new console application. Let's call it console app 8. And let's make this a benchmark. No, not yet. Let's see what we can do. So there is, when we handle enums, we can get the name of an enum. We get the name, enum.getName of. So this is now a generic method. There is many enums. Let's define our own enum. Enum our enum. And our enum has a first constant with the value 1, and a second constant with the value 2, and a third constant with the value 3. Okay. And now we would like to get the name of our enum for the constant, our enum dot, for the second one. And if we print this name to the console, and if we would select this as a startup project and run this application. We get second printed out. So the white line is printing second, which is the value second here. And since second is represented by 2, and per default an enum is basically an integer, we could also explicitly declare it to be a short or a different numeric type, a different integral type. So what we could do, we could also just cast the integer 2. So we are casting the integer 2 to this enum. Perhaps let's do it in 2 steps. That makes it more obvious. Our enum value equals to 2. And then we pass this enum, this value to the get name. And since the value 2 is represented by the constant second, it will, when run again, print second to the console.
Nice.
If we use, excuse me?
Nice.
If we use a value that is not defined, in this case 8, we get, well, it says nothing because that's actually null. So let's do a null conditional here. If this value is null, then let's print null in those pointy angle brackets. And we do indeed get the string null. This is also represented by the enum.isDefined. So we can say bool is defined, enum.isDefined, and basically say, hey, is this enum value 8 defined? Console.writeLine, printing this boolean to the console will be either true or false, and since 8 is not defined, it will be false. And if we were using, let's do 3, something that is defined. So basically when enum get name will not return null, then enum is defined will return true. Now the thing is about these 2 methods, they are very general. So they work for each and every enum on this planet. That enums that come in .NET, so in the BCL, the base class library, or custom defined enums all over the ecosystem. I don't know how many enum types there are. I can imagine many. Can we get like a brief hold if we do grep.app, with which we can search for code? If we say public enum something, all in C#. Okay, well, so there seems to be, but this is just publicly scanned repositories. So 100,000 public enums. I'm uncertain how exact this number is, but there's a lot of enums out there.
That is a lot. Wow.
And enum.getName works with all of them.
Okay.
Which means it can't be as efficient as humanly possible or machinely possible, because it has to deal with any enum of the world. Now that doesn't mean it's slow. Actually, .NET 8 style, a race car, I don't know by how much, but the developers have significantly improved the performance of enum.getName and enum.isDefined in .NET 8. It is super fast, but it could be just a little bit faster. And it's just, we're talking here about a nanosecond, if even. But this is, well, it's becoming it's becoming more and more. I'm using this example of enums for source generators for years now, and this example is coming worse and worse because .NET, the BCL, is getting faster and faster, and I guess I need to find a different example now. If we create our own benchmark, so let's write our own first benchmark on the show, I think even. Let's do a class.
It's my first benchmark ever.
So to do benchmarking, the most prevalent package in the .NET ecosystem is benchmark.net. We'll post the link in the chat. So this is the package benchmark.net. Let's install that, because that does a lot of work. That takes a lot of work about invoking methods for good micro benchmarking and then giving amazing statistical results. So we can now mark this similar to a test. If we take a look at a test, just grabbing any of our tests, it's in XUnit, we attribute a public method with a fact. Benchmarking, we attribute public methods with benchmark. Need to use benchmark.net attributes namespace. And let's say this is measuring enum get name. And let's do exactly our example here. We return, let's get rid of that. We return in this benchmark enum.getName and say our enum.cert. This is a nullable string. We get a nullable warning. Let's get rid of that. Now, what we could do for a little bit of a more optimized version, like which only works for this enum and no other enum on this planet, we could write very naive code and basically write something, is this integer 1 or 2 or 3, and then return this string as a constant, or for the is defined, just return true or false if this existing. Would only work for this enum, but for no other enum on this planet, and therefore could be a little bit faster. But if we need to write this ourselves, it's very tedious. So what we did publish since the last time, we not only have our tool as a NuGet package, we also now have in the Flashover organization a flashover.generators package. And flashover.generators has a generator for these enums. Currently only those two, where we are looking into expanding it into more enum methods and more generators in general. I guess we'll also do generate next season. We definitely do generators as well.
Woohoo!
Let's install this package. It's still in pre-release because it's also using interceptors, which are experimental, therefore the pre-release. And we could now define our partial class, I call it generated enum. Put a generated enum get name attribute with a generic attribute of this enum type that we want to generate, in our case, our enum. Now the generator will kick in and generate in this partial class something new. If we take a look at this generated code, this is now source generated. We see this file is auto-generated. It also has auto-generated comments and everything on it. Now creates a get name that doesn't work for every enum on this planet, but only for this our enum and no other enum, and therefore can do very naive code by basically switching over the enum and saying if it's first, then return name of first. If it's second, name of second. Third, name of third. Otherwise, if not found, return null. And very similarly, could also be done for the generated enum is defined. And then generates code that only works for this particular enum and returns true if and only if for our enum value, if we pass it in, is first, second, or third, which means integral 1, 2, or 3, and otherwise false. So it's very special code, only works for this enum, but therefore is ever so slightly faster. It used to be faster in .NET 5, .NET 6 land times, but by now it's just .NET 6, .NET 8 is so fast. Almost can't keep up with it. So when we run this benchmark, since
in this partial class generated enum, we don't have to actually put any code in there. We just need the attributes up top.
Yes. So those attributes are basically just marker for the generator.
Okay.
The generator now scans all of our source code, like Roslyn style, gets all our nodes, finds all classes, because this enum this enum has the attribute usage on class, so we can only apply this enum to a class, finds all classes that have any of these attributes attached to, also checks if it's partial, so that the source generator can now create in the same compilation, emit new C# code that is also partial on that class to basically extend this class and adding new members to this class. And this is why it has to be partial, so that a source generator can add new code to it. If it wasn't partial, now I can't do this, because if I now write, basically if the source generator would emit a new class again, now it would be ambiguous, because hey, this namespace, or in this case now the global namespace, already contains a class called generated enum. So it's ambiguous and we don't know which one. But if you make it partial, we can have as many of these declarations as we want, because during compilation, all of the partial class declarations are basically merged into one. What we still can't have, let's say if we have a public void method 1 in here, and a public void method 1 in the other, because those class declarations are merged into one. Again, now it says, hey, this type already defines a method 1 method with the same amount of arguments, so it still doesn't work. Think of partial classes that they can only be within one compilation, so you can't have partial classes across projects. And then on compilation, they are merged into one single type. And this is what source generators can now utilize to add additional code to types that the user specifies, basically as a bit of an extension point. And the generator can now generate, we do generated enum, generate special case code for that. And since a benchmark is just a console application, we run this .NET Run. But in release configuration, because we want to have a fast, if we do micro benchmarking, we want to have the optimized version of the code. Release that allows optimization. And I forgot the plumbing, because we need to call benchmark runner, I think. Benchmark runner.run, and we pass in the type that contains the benchmarks. There's different ways of running this benchmark. If we only have one, we can do this. And this returns some results. I don't care about this summary report.
Discard.
This is a discard, yes.
Yay,
I mean, yes, talked about this just before. I don't really need a discard, because it's discarding the return value anyway, so it doesn't make any semantical difference. But I know that this method returns something. It returns a summary. But I also know I'm very conscious about not using this summary here, and to signify that, to state that, hey, I know it returned something, but I don't care about the return. I can assign it to a discard. Now, this is not, we don't have any type one, we don't have any var before, so we cannot, underscore does not exist. I cannot say underscore dot something. This is not, in this case, it doesn't exist in the current context. This is not an identifier. It's really discarding the return value as if we weren't doing anything with it at all, but just to explicitly write to, okay, I know it returned something, but I, in this case, don't ignore it consciously. And now we can run this benchmarks. Now this will take a bit. Has incorrect access modifiers. I think the class also needs to be public. Yes, it actually says. I just need to read the error message. And now what benchmark.net does under the hood, it runs the code many times. There is some warm-up phase, because in .NET there is the just-in-time compiler. So our code, our C# code, is compiled into intermediate language code by the Roslyn compiler. The same is happening with Visual Basic Code. The Roslyn compiler turns Visual Basic Code into intermediate language code. Now this intermediate language code, this can be run by the .NET runtime. But it's not machine code yet. I'm here on a Windows 64-bit machine. IL code is portable, but it doesn't run on its own. So we still need the JIT, the just-in-time compiler, that now compiles the code just in time. But this also takes some time, compiling the code just in time. It's also .NET 8 has made a ton of advantages in the just-in-time compilation. There's an entire talk. I guess you could talk a day about what the JIT is and what it does and how .NET 8 improved it. But to basically get a bit of a when code is run a lot of times, not a compiler, the just-in-time compiler may see, okay, this code is run a lot of times, and in the beginning, just generates machine code fast so that it can run immediately. But then when the runtime understands, okay, this code is run a lot, now may we compile it just again with more efficient code, where the compilation may take longer, but the code resulting is now even faster. And so this is why benchmark.net just doesn't run the code a single time, because this would be not really representative, but tries to get the just-in-time compiler do all of its magic before, and then runs the code a lot of times, and then that does a lot of statistics on it. We see there is also outliers removed, so it does statistical analysis.
What does the error mean? Like,
okay, now my statistical. This is now statistics. So the mean is like the average. We have an error value and a standard deviation value, and I always forget what these are. I don't know.
But does it mean that the code failed?
No, those are statistical values. That I think that's related to the standard deviation, and I think that's related to like all of the values, like statistic.
Yeah, it has like a legend like underneath, which says half of 99.
Oh yeah, actually I should read this. So the error is half.
I didn't understand.
So the error is half of the 99.9 confidence interval. Yeah, I still don't know what that means. I need to do I need to up my statistics. And standard def is the standard deviation that I also forgot. So those are statistical measures because it's running the code a lot of times. Now maybe the first one it takes 1 nanosecond, with the second time it takes less, and we get a lot of statistical values. And then averages are taken and deviations calculated, and now I'm embarrassing myself because I only look at the mean most of the time.
Okay.
Well, I need for the next time. Okay, that actually signifies we need to do a session on benchmark, and we need to invite a guest who can answer this question.
Yep.
This will be for
down right now.
excellent for the next season. And we see that enum.getName is a bad example because enum.getName in .NET 8 is really fast. So there is virtually this is in sub nanoseconds area. So this could be a measurement. I'm also live streaming, so this is skewing the result. So this is basically the difference is not really measurable. Maybe, perhaps, well, I don't really think so, but maybe is defined has a bigger difference, but let's find out. Oops, come on. So this would be returning a Boolean.
Benchmark both at the same time. Okay.
Yes, we could. But the more methods we have, the longer it runs. So let's reduce it to the minimum. So this is calling the generated version. This is you know why there is no difference? Because I actually I built it myself. Foolish me. Because I actually expected that the system, this is the one from the BCL, actually takes 2 nanoseconds. So that there is 1.5 nanoseconds. I expected a bit of a 1 nanosecond difference. So still barely measurable, but and super insignificant. But still, there is a barely measurable difference. Barely. The thing is now those are the same virtually because we are not running enum.isDefined here under the hood actually. What is happening is because this is we not only have this generator, we also have the flashover.generators project also creates interceptors. And this is actually, I totally forgot about it. So what I wanted to show is it's kind of tedious that we have to go to our code and have a generator create this and then exchange our call sites.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be cool if we didn't need to do anything at all. We just include a package, and every enum.isDefined and every enum.getName call just now uses something as if it was generated, and using this more effective way of doing so, and saving this 1 point, I don't know what, barely measurable and super insignificant difference.
It might not be, you know, if you're in a space team or something.
Maybe. And if you're not on .NET 8 yet, if you're on .NET 6, then the difference is, for example, more significant. It's .NET 8 that is so fast and making the differences. But there is actually a measurable difference. Now, not here, because there is a generator creating an interceptor, and this is actually where we wanted to go to, that now does this thing. So we do have the interceptor here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the interceptor, we had a look at this 3 sessions ago. We need this intercepts location attribute. Mm-hmm. And now we have here the same, this is like the same generated code is defined. If I were to change it back to get name.
But it was called isDefined 0, right?
Yeah, but that's just a generated name. Now this changes into get name. This is just an identifier. So let's put them side by side or stack by stack. So at the top we have the interceptor. At the bottom we have the intercepted. So this call enum.getName is intercepted by this. Now the signature must match. GetName returns a string. We return a string, and we pass an our enum value. So we have that our enum parameter. So this matches, this signature matches. The identifier is irrelevant. This could be called .NET 8. It doesn't really matter what the method is. It doesn't need to have the same name, but it has to have a matching signature. And then we have the path, the location of the intercepted code. This is our programmed CS on line number 12. Mm-hmm. And on character 21, which is exactly here. Down there we see character 21. So we no longer, if we step into get name, we no longer call this general purpose works with every enum on the planet kind of method, but we actually call this, the compiler does a little sleight of hand and exchanges the call site and says, no, you don't go to the BCL, you go into this method instead. And if we had, and now I totally forgot about it, and I totally didn't see, because mentioned in the beginning, the tooling is, well, partially tooling is there. In JetBrains Rider, you get a little icon there. If it had code with me, if we could do live share, we could be using that. But since we do co-programming, we can't. We would get a little icon here, somewhere, I think here or here, saying, okay, that this invocation is intercepted. But we also would like to now have our command line tool take over and do that for us.
Yes.
And for that, let's actually, what we also tested last time is from the .NET. Oops, don't need to show that actually. From the .NET SDK, the native AOT web API. So let's go to .NET new list. This will be the native AOT web API. Let's create a .NET new web API. Let's do the output. Let's call it my web API. And this is not out, but output. Okay, so that's created. And let's, for now, we will write a test later, but let's first see it working, because this is where we ended last stream. We created our own string args. Mm-hmm. Let's use C#9 collection expressions. We can't use args because they exist already. Arg. And we want to use, we call into the interceptors tool. We want to list all interceptors in the project. So string project will be, I now closed the directory. We point to the native AOT example because that one uses a interceptor, what we saw last time. Copy the path, paste it in. And now we want to call that code. And where we were last time is in our interceptor locator here when we walk through the documents. And now if we run this code, we manually force it to use the just freshly created native AOT example. We haven't modified the example at all. It says, assembly which defines benchmarks is not optimized. Hold on. Oh, yeah, of course. I'm starting the wrong project. We need to start our tool, of course. No. Set as startup project. There it is. Now let's run it. And we get some errors. Okay, it's not interceptors, it's interceptor. My bad. Now it's running. And I want to set a breakpoint here. But in these documents, we do not get these generated documents. We only get, we do get some generated documents like the global usings.g.cs, which is a generated document. This assembly attributes document, this one is also generated, just as this one. The only C# file that is not generated is the program.cs. But we are not getting files that are generated by a source generated. So we get files that are generated by the .NET SDK and MS Build, but we don't get files that are generated by the source generator that is working for the native AOT example. And this is now the first thing that we need to step in and update our code so that it also takes care of generated documents. And since we mentioned live share before, I think now perhaps it's for you time to take over.
Yeah, but I have a confession to make.
Which is?
I am struggling to follow you on live share, and so I am not in the right file whatsoever.
Can you click on the top hand side here on the equivalent of my icon? And I think there is something like white mouse button follow.
No, there is no icon, and I don't know how to get it back.
That is, then I do not know. Okay, can you go to the
file?
Can you do Control T and then enter interceptor locator? Does that work?
Mm-hmm. Interceptor locator. Yes. All right. I'm somewhere. Could be. Wait. Can you like zoom out a little bit? It's like, oh, okay, we're at the top of the file.
Yeah. So we need to go to the find interceptors async because we are not taking care of source generated documents.
I think I'm here.
This is the first thing. This is also what in our C# 12 session, no, not in the C# 12 session, but in our last session, Stuart Lang actually was watching and gave us a hint of that we need to actually include the source generated documents as well. Also, Jason Bock, when he did the first episode on interceptors, also gave us a similar hint that this document list may not include the source generated documents. And we now actually have evidence that it does not. and we need to get a hold of the source-generated documents now through a different mean.
I don't think I'm here. Sorry.
Interceptor location.
Interceptor locator.
Interceptor locator, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm at the top of the file, but I don't think you can see me. Can you?
No, I don't really see your cursor. Should we? Could you?
Yeah.
Does it help? Can you I'm not sure how it looks for you. Can you close the session and live stream something and then join again with the same link?
Yep.
Let's try that.
Sorry.
Well, it's not your fault. It's either Visual Studio or Live Share that is not working in our favor today.
Yeah. It's really strange. First, I thought they might have just changed the location of the button, and then I googled it, and they were like, "No, just click on the button, and then you'll be there." And I wasn't. Ta-da! Okay. Waiting for my Visual Studio. Okay, so but in the meantime, can you remind me, what are we doing? What are we?
We need some mechanism.
Yeah.
How we can get a hold of the source of source generated documents.
Yeah.
So we do get physical documents.
Sure.
We do get documents that are generated by MS Build or by the .NET SDK. But what we do not get is currently code that is documents that are generated by source generators. And there should be something either on the project, on the compilation, somewhere, because both Jason and Stuart gave us a hint that there must, if it's not part of the documents, then there should be something. And can you now follow that document and edit? We did test it just before we started the stream and it worked. So that's kind of forsaking us now, tooling.
Okay. Can you see me?
No. I'll try to follow. Can you click somewhere?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work. Well, I do see that you are in the program CS. Can you type something in the program CS?
Okay. I can.
Well, okay, now my Visual Studio throws errors. Okay, maybe it's me, not you. But you can't. Should I restart? You know what? I will briefly restart this session as well. Close. Is there a close? There's a close. That means let's close the entire thing down. And I'll send you a new link. Starting the tool. And starting a new live share session.
Perfect.
And invitation link has been.
You've been speaking quite a lot of events this year, haven't you?
Yes.
How have you? Is this have you ever had issues like that, on an actual, on an actual talk, or
Not really, no.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Oh, well, not in software, but in hardware. Once at one event, the projector just stopped working.
Oh, okay, but it was you were in person, so you could just show them your laptop.
Yeah, so this was in the 10 last minutes. Then we had a bit of a gathering around the laptop, and yeah, well, it was the last 10 minutes. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh. Well, did they fix it for the next guy, or did the next guy just?
I think it was the last session. I think it was the last session. So.
Oh man, so lucky. Ah, okay. Hello, I'm here.
But I never used live share during a presentation, and considering our experience now, I am hesitant to use it during a.
Live share is so much fun when it works.
Critical. Yeah.
and it is really not a lot of fun when it doesn't. Okay, so where were we? We were here, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So what we wanted to...
We can use C# 12 here. Yes. Okay.
Oh my god! Well done.
Well, IDE suggested.
What?
The IDE suggested it.
Oh, okay.
I just hit Control Dot or Alt Enter.
Yeah. We did that a lot in the previous episode, didn't we, with the angle brackets? Okay. But we want to get a hold of the source generated documents as well. Right?
Yes.
So I'm going to create a variable, and they're going to be generated documents or something.
That sounds good.
Just for now, I might, yeah. And then you said there was something already that should... Ooh.
Compilation or project.
Okay, let's show project.
This is what Stuart and Jason suggested, that via the compilation or the project, somewhere we need to get these. In worst case, we need to create our own generator driver, and with that generator driver, generate these documents ourselves, which would be possible, but it's a little bit painful. And I'm hoping that there is something on these types already doing it under the hood.
I kind of see, well, there's something looks promising, which is get source generated documents async, but there is a second one underneath. It looks exactly the same. Is that not it? Why are you laughing at me?
Well, no, because this sounds like exactly the thing that we need. Oh, you mean one is generated document and one is documents. So the document. Well, no, I'm laughing. I'm smiling because this is exactly what we need. The document one takes a document ID. So you ask for a particular one where you know the ID of, but we don't do. We want to get all, so we use the document. Just getting rid of that without an argument or parameter, depending on the point of view.
Wait, sorry, I didn't. So we want just documents with plural? Or
yes, plural.
Okay, but now it doesn't. So okay, now back get source generated documents. Okay.
Because this only this, since it's an async method, this one does take a cancellation token. So
and since it's async, we have to await it.
Right.
And it does take a cancellation token.
We already passed it in, so we can just. It's always good practice to forward the cancellation to methods which accept them, and pretty much every async method kind of should or is very likely to do so. And now what we get now, I'm just hitting Control Dot on that to get the explicit type. Now we have an IEnumerable of source generated documents. But these documents, so we have an IEnumerable of documents and an IEnumerable of source generated documents. Now I'm hoping that source generated documents are deriving from documents. Cool. So we now could either basically put this into a separate method and then invoke this loop twice on the documents and on the generated documents.
Okay.
Or I guess the alternative is always something with link.
Then is Eggplant in training here? Are we ready to do link? I don't know. Can we do link without him? Probably not. But we can try.
We can try. So we want to. Right. So there is different methods how you can combine stuff. There is an append where but this only adds one element at the end. There's also a prepend which adds one element at the beginning.
Is that an actual word? Prepend?
Well, we don't have because we don't have single elements. We have another IEnumerable, so another zero too many collection. So we need to combine two IEnumerables. Or I guess in string, if I'm thinking about in string land, if we do string A plus string B, now doing the plus thing, this is called string concatenation. And there's also something like string. We can do string.concat, where you can concatenate various strings. Maybe there is something with similar, with the same semantics.
Let's do it. Concat and contains, but we don't need contains.
We don't need contains, yeah.
So what do we want to concat? Whatever we
Yep.
get back, right?
Yeah.
And then this is not right. I've missed a no. Yes.
And this works because source-generated documents is derived from documents. And IEnumerable, okay, there is a bit... This works because of the out here. I think if there was an out... Okay, now I'm actually not certain. But I don't think this would work without the out here, because this is the different... You can either... With generics, you can either have out, in, or nothing. If there is nothing, it's invariant. If it's out, it's covariant. And if it's in, it's contravariant. And I think because it's covariant, meaning that we can assign more derived types to less derived types. In this case, we can assign source-generated documents to document. Now, this is why this concat works. I think, I'm not 100% certain though, but there is something going on with variance in generics. But this is actually did talk with Eggplant in training, and perhaps they're joining us for an episode on link, where we only do link stuff.
No way!
Then we go I asked very low key. Now I'm asking a bit on live on stream, a bit higher key. So let's find out. But there will be a link only episode in the next season. We'll cover all of that.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Eggplant in training has helped me out more times than I can count. So it's after Stefan, obviously, my personal hero.
Well, Eggplant training is also helping me with link and everything else. I'm learning so much during this project. I only know a little bit of C# syntax, I have the feeling.
It would be awesome to have it on the show. That would be so funny. That would be so funny.
So let's see. Do we now have generated documents? Yes, we do. But no, none of these generated documents are the one that we actually wanted. The root generator, something with root generation. We had a similar issue last time.
Yeah.
We did do a little bit research, and I think the problem now is that we are still on an older version of Roslyn, because we are still on version. On version 4.5, and there's a newer version available. And they have been released, the Roslyn packages, they got released a little bit after the .NET 8 release, but now they are available. So we should be able to update our Roslyn packages to a latest 4.8 version. Roslyn 4.8 is the compiler version that understands C#12. Basically, the versioning is that's a whole story on versioning. But can I do a black port? Yes. So we have, okay. Learning shortcut keys. Okay, so we're currently the .NET 8.0.100 SDK. Every quarter, there will be a new so-called feature band release. So in a quarter, we get 8.0.200. And in another quarter, we get 300. And in another quarter, we get 400. And then it's .NET 9 time. So .NET 9.0.100. And when the feature band increases, also the Roslyn version increases. So currently on Roslyn, we are on 4.8. With the feature band 2, so 8.0.200 will be 4.9. And this also goes in line with the Visual Studio version. So Visual Studio version is currently 17.8. In a quarter, when we get .NET 8.0.2, we get Roslyn 4.9, and we will get 17.9 on Visual Studio. And this also goes in line with NuGet, where we're currently on 6.8. And in a quarter, we get 7.9, and so on. So all this MS Build, NuGet, Visual Studio, Roslyn, .NET Build style compiler packages, they're all in sync, where basically the minor version, this 8 here on Roslyn, NuGet, and Visual Studio, keeps in line and increases when the feature band of the .NET SDK increases. And in a quarter, in 3 months, we then go to 9 and to 10 and so on. And whenever Microsoft ships the next version of Visual Studio, which will be Visual Studio version 18, then Roslyn will increment to 5 and NuGet will increment to 7 and so on and so forth. Long story short, we're on .NET 8.0.100 and can therefore use 4.8 and should use 4.8 because 4.8 is now the Roslyn version, which is aware of interceptors. Was this somehow followable?
Yeah, it was. And also, I have good news because I think I can now follow you on our live share session.
Cool.
Have you tried turning it off and on again? Yeah. Close everything and start again. And today, actually, a little bit earlier during work, we once had a very not infamous. I really like the tweet where we just had like save. If in doubt, just save and try it again, and it'll work. Because that happened to us live on the stream as well, and that happened to me today, and I was like, oh my god. I just didn't save. Yeah, you live and you learn. And then part of that learning is that you keep making the same mistakes, like saving and not turning it off and on again. That should really always be like the first thing. If anything doesn't work.
Should there be a pop-up?
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be fun. Could be another one of our projects. Okay.
So updated to, oops, I guess I need to set a breakpoint. Okay, so we upgraded now to .NET 8, to the .NET 8 Roslyn packages. And now we should be able to get those generated documents because now we have a version of the compiler which understands hold on, should this have been related because it's about generators, not interceptors? No, actually this shouldn't have changed anything now that I think about it. And it didn't. Oh no, it did. But it's generators. How did the generator...
You say some of them use interceptors?
Well, here we are not aware of interceptors yet, but I think because, we are building the native AOT web API, and that relies on the .NET 8 SDK.
There you go.
And I think this may be related. Okay, I'm not entirely... Well, I guess it's somehow related, but anyway, we now upgraded to the latest Roslyn packages, and now we have the generated root builder, and this document contains interceptors. If we take a look at, can we two-string this? If we go like to here, say, because it's an enumerable element at index 5, I think that was, and we say two-string.
Wow.
Oh no. I guess we need to say, oops, get text or something, get text async. Since it's async, we are here in the evaluator. Let's do .result and two-string that. Now we get generated code, and here we have, this is not the generated code that we were looking for. We get the interceptor attribute, and also down here, the interceptors, here's the intercepts location. So we now do have the documents, and now now our logic, because we got the base logic working last time already, should now do something. But we don't print anything to the console just yet.
Yeah.
So that's now the next step to print the result that we have just now received. So going to the interceptors, because currently we only print the warning that interceptors are currently in experimental feature. Now, well, we're printing the project name. Here we have the result.
Okay.
And in the result, we now would like, we have the interceptors in the results, so the interceptor methods, but also the methods then which they intercept. Let's print this to the console. And we did ask in 2 interceptor sessions ago, which is I think 3 to code or not to code sessions ago, about what could be a helpful result to print, how to format it. And I'm trying to find that note. There it is. So let's
copy that over.
Move that in here, and let's try to do some for eaching and print these. So we would.
Wow. Yes.
So we would, because we have many. We have, well, it could be many interceptors. So in this interceptor list that we return, well, we get a project name, we get a list of all the interceptors, and then each interceptor, because an interceptor method could intercept multiple methods, now has basically the interceptions that they intercept, which can be one or many, and basically now going to the call site and so on. Okay. So yeah.
Because like, what happened if we just print the result, like as a list?
Well, I get how,
because it would be messy, or what would it, or would it not work at all?
Well, it depends on how we because our print, our type here, it's not toString. We don't have to, okay, well, there is a toString, but this toString only says how many interceptors it contains. Well, I guess we could actually use this toString. This could be helpful. So we just print result here. Oops. But we now need some list. Well, I'm not sure what you mean. So go ahead and let's find the result. Maybe there's, if it turns out helpful, then we keep it. But I'm not certain what you mean with just printing it.
I was just wondering what would be printed if we just printed just result, if it's a list of stuff.
Well, what we currently do, because it depends, per default, the toString is called of a type, and it's whatever we implement. What we implemented so far is just putting, okay, project my web API contains 2 interceptors. That's it. Okay.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Well, that is
pretty cool.
That is mathematically correct.
Okay, but we don't want that. We want
additionally the info of where the interception is where the interceptor is and what is it intercepting.
Okay. Easy.
And we do have the information now in this result gathered already.
Do we need to be?
Let's do new. So let's keep those 2 lines and let's create a new. And I guess since we do have since this intercept result, it's a list, so we have multiple interceptors. So we want to for each through these interceptors. And now these interceptors have a list of basically the interception that they intercept. So we want to have a for each and a nested for each, and then print the results.
Wow. This goes back to basics, but it's actually for each. No, for each. Why doesn't it tap me? No, autocomplete. Where did you go? Why?
So do we not work via live share now? Oh, yeah, that's okay. Can you recall the syntax? How you write it?
A for each loop?
Yeah.
Is it already wrong?
No. But it's just without auto completion. Also, kind of need to think always how to do that, and I may do it wrong.
Yeah. For each var, what is it?
Interceptor.
Interceptor in results dot interceptors. And then Another for each. Right. Yes. I'm just gonna go for it. So now it's the wait. It's again the wait. How do I get to this one now?
Yeah, we can use that, and every interceptor now has one or many interceptions. Because one interceptor method could intercept multiple methods, one or many.
Is it again? Do I have to go again to resolve?
No. But now since it's a nested loop, we go from the interceptor dot interceptions.
Interceptor dot interceptions. I love it.
And we call that interception. So this will be then the first one here. This will be interception.
Okay.
And we always need a type. You can use an implicit type, but we always need a type.
I did it right the first time, and then I didn't follow my own template. There you go.
So we know the interceptor and all of its interceptions, and we could, let's see what information we have. So let's do an white line and see what we got on the interception.
White line.
Oh, cool. So this will print the interception. Well, let's see if interception, if we made the type actually, if we had a toString, well, this toString prints intercepts location. Okay, let's give that a try.
Wait, I needed the $sign and stuff, right?
Not necessarily, but toString is a method.
There you go.
We need to invoke the method. And this is the same. This is now with current C#, this is the same as what you had before. So if I would write it like this is the very same, because string interpolation is calling toString of the interpolated elements. So what we have here, since we only have the interpolated element in this interpolated string, now those two lines are semantically the same. So whichever syntax you prefer.
Yeah, the first one's cooler.
There you go. And let's run it. And we should get we have two interceptors intercepting one location each. So we should get something like this. So we say contains two interceptors, it intercepts location, and it also prints that's the current toString, it also prints the method that it intercepts. But this is, well, it's quite long, the line.
Pretty,
Maybe we should split that up into, well, we do have the information, and we do have the information in available. So there's basically two parts to it. We have, so this is now one interceptor. And no, that's one interception. And the interception has basically the information from the attribute, which is the file path, the line, and the character. So we could have this in a separate line and the method that it intercepts in another one. So we could print two lines. So this would, the second line, we could make the, yeah, exactly. That's fine. Let's see how this looks like. And okay, we get the document, yes, and we get, well, the toString that we have here does make it like so. What we could do, let's hope that works. What we could do is maybe if we format it like attribute dot file path colon attribute dot character colon attribute dot line. Now what I'm hoping is that this combines with the go-to feature and we can basically copy paste into the IDE. Well, I guess making it an IDE feature would be just the best thing, but I guess this could be the next best thing. If we copy that and I hit now Control T, which opens, of course, on my other screen,
Nice.
and paste that in, then this would not work. Okay, what if I do it without that? Would that work? That does not work either. What if I do file? Okay. That is unfortunate because I thought this could work. Of course, this doesn't work here because we don't have that. That's a different project. We don't have the source in here, so we can't just find it. Let's open. I'm opening Visual Studio Code because it's a little bit faster to open. Going into this project API. Let's open this project in code. There it is. What if we do it like so? I'm now basically pasting in the string that we got with the colon notation. And that is not going to the correct, because it should actually go down here. So this does not work either. No, hold on. Oh, this is just the other way. This is just wrong. This is just wrong. Because first comes the line.
Oh.
Then comes the character.
Good spot.
And we just copy the string. Go into Visual Studio Code, and in Visual Studio Code, if we now just paste in the string and hit return, now the cursor is exactly there. This is exactly where the cursor is. So that's the first interception. And doing the second, now copying the second string, hitting Control P to open this open dialog, Control V to paste in the string, hit return, and now the cursor just jumped out one line to the other interception, because those are exactly those two methods which are intercepted. So this works perfectly.
Awesome.
And
is it pretty enough as well?
Perhaps we can also print a group at a level. That's wrong. Let's also print the interceptor information. Well, I guess we overloaded the two strings, so let's see what's turning out. Like we could do a little dash here to say like this is one entry in the list, and indent these by 2 spaces.
Nice.
Something like this.
That would be nice.
A little bit inspired by the Markdown syntax.
Yeah, but it also is just easier to see what, as you said, group together makes it easier for the eye.
Oh, this is way too much information.
It is. Let's
reduce that. So the interceptor has, we know the document, we know the line, we know the character, we know the method. Well, this is the location of the interceptor. Maybe it suffices to print the. Let's see what Jason has suggested. He suggested to have to group. Haha, now we need link again. To group by the document. Because what we currently do, we now group by documents that have interceptors. But we don't group by documents that have interceptions. So we want to group by documents that have interceptions by the file path of the document that have interceptions. So what we want to do, okay, now we need some crazy link. So we want to combine. So we have interceptors, and each interceptor says interceptions, which is now, this is not a select, but a select many. Because if we select these interceptors, it's a list. If we select many lists, it's a select many. And then we want to group the result by the file path of the interception.
Yeah.
I'm just writing it out. Selecting many interceptors and the interceptions, and then group by these interceptions interception.filepath. This is not the exact, I think we have it at the attributes data or somewhere, but basically this is what we want to group, select many and group by. Would you want to give that a try
I would
here?
love to, actually. Oh, can you show me again where?
Let's do it here in the top level for each.
Inside the for each. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, we still need. Wait.
Yes. So we do need the interceptors.
Yeah. Okay.
And now we don't want to
select
select the interceptors, but we want to select many interceptors, because
okay.
the thing that we select again is a collection, so that we then now combine. We are from a collection selecting into a collection, which is now many collections. So we want to do a select many. Yes.
And this is of type. So we need to put a type in of type interception.
No, we don't have to. We can let the compiler infer the generic type argument here. Yeah.
Oh God. Is this a method? Yeah. No.
So in the select many, we now need to pass in a lambda.
Okay. Oh.
Where the input now will be one interceptor.
Okay. And that would be result.
We could explicitly declare the type, but also we don't have to. It depends on how we prefer it. If we want to have type inference or explicitly stated.
But it would be this one, right?
It would be that one indeed, yes.
But why doesn't it? Did I do a typo?
Because this is not a lambda yet. We do need the arrow, the equals greater than sign. No, it's a lambda. And from that, from each interceptor, we want to select many its interceptions.
What?
So you can now write in basically the same. It's basically the same syntax that we have here. We having result.interceptors and select many interceptor.interceptions to basically now combine those two for eaches into one for each that we can then later group by. Yep. Okay. And I'll just move this out into, I don't know how to call this yet, something, so that we don't have it all in this for each.
Oh, it's
no, it's still there. Just formatting it a little bit.
I think there's something red.
Yes, because when we have a block, we now have it's like a method, just anonymous. Every line in the method needs to be terminated with a semicolon, or every statement, statement needs to be terminated, not every line. We can have, basically you can write an entire C# code in one single line. May not be the most readable. But why is this not working? So yes, because we have to return it, of course. It's a method. We need to, this is just calling it, yes. The shorthand syntax for that, and I think Visual Studio could do this, is basically just writing, using it via an expression body. If you basically just do one thing and return that, then you can just omit the body and basically have this as an expression. How is that called? Expression lambda. Now returning that. And those parameters are also optional. So, okay, we now select many. Now we have a list of interception info.
Okay.
And so we basically now kind of merged those two for eaches into one collection that contains now all interceptions. And we want to group these by their
file path.
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to celebrate something real quick. I just wrote my first lambda function, lambda expression thing stuff without looking it up, like looking up shape online.
Nice.
So that's a first. And second, that means I have to change this for each, right? Because
let's forget about this. We I'll just comment it out.
Forget about it?
We'll come back to that later.
Okay. Okay. So we need a for each, don't we?
Yes. But first, let's do the group by, and then we go into the for eaching.
The group by. That's another link method.
Yes. And
we
can chain the select many. We can just chain that. We don't need to have another variable declared. We can just chain the select many into the next thing.
Group by. Awesome.
And group by now basically takes in, well, we do this per interceptor. So this will be, no, hold on. This is now an interception, my bad. Because the input now is of type interception info. And this goes to somewhere on this must be the file path.
Okay.
So we now select here in this lambda, we return the file path that we want to group by. Full stop.
That is interceptor file path, right?
Interception.
Interception file path.
We don't have the interceptor here available here yet.
Oh my god, I'm gonna copy paste this.
Well, I don't think it's file path, but it's gotta be somewhere there. What properties do we have? Let's take a look at our type. So this is an interceptor info, and the interceptor info has. So we have the call site that has the information of the of what is intercepted, and we have the original attribute data, and in the attribute data, in the intercepts location attribute data, there is the file path. So we want to say attribute.filepath.
Attribute. Nice.
And now we can for each that. Well, how do we count? This is now the let's call this interceptions. Okay.
That was fun.
Now we can for each these.
I really enjoyed that. For each. And my autocomplete works again. But this is not it, is it?
We have interceptor interceptions. Well, I guess this should be an interception.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just change the name here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And this now, I'll make this a parent. So use the explicit type. This is now an I grouping of these. So basically grouped per string. So we still have the original select many and all of its interception info, but grouped by this string, which is the document name that the intercepted call is in. So we can now, for each the I grouping, to get each interception info from per file path. So this is actually not interception, this really is interceptions, because this again is an I enumerable that you can now for each. And now we have interceptions twice, so this is bad. We could, or we inline it.
Could we in interception, or like, because it's an interception info somewhere as well. Or would that
I could do this interception. Well, let's call this because
collection.
This is the group.
Interception group.
Yeah. Because this is one group of interceptions that we can now degroup. That sounds weird, but somewhat like that. So we can have a nested for each again. So basically, we still have the nested for each, but we now don't start by each interceptor. Not the interceptor is not a top level thing, but the file path of the interception to get the structure that Jason 3 episodes ago has recommended us to start with, and then see where this goes.
Okay, but because we want to start with the file path.
So yes, and the file path is now available. So we do have the file path in the we can say
the first one, right?
since we are seeing the nested for each, we can say interceptor group dot key, because this is the key of the grouping. Alternatively, because we have the interception and it is already grouped, we can also say attribute. Because it is grouped correctly, we could also attribute.filepath, whatever you prefer. Both of these within this for each yield the same value. So you can choose which one to take. Which one to you seems more apparent?
This one. Because,
and let's print that to the console.
Right line. And wait. I need $1. Oh my god.
Not necessarily, because filepath is a string. Filepath already is a string, so we don't need to stringify that. But actually now that in order to get these syntax, because we want to print one of these per group, basically a group is now a document, we actually want to do it, we want to group, write that here, console.writeLine, where we don't have the attribute filepath available yet, so we actually need to use the key here. So we need to say interception group.key up there. So this will be interception group.key.
Got it.
I will be using string interpolation to get a little bit of a minus here too. So we build a bit of a markdown list. Let's see if this is somehow working. So we should now get one entry, because we only have one document that contains interceptors, which is the program.cs of the native IoT app. And here it is, my web app program.cs. And now beneath that, we want to list 2 interceptions in the form of the string that we first had. We print in the location of the interception. I guess we should just be able to move that. And then a little bit, I forgot what this is about, but let's unwind that later. And so this will be basically line 59, what we have.
Line 15, I don't have line 59. This one. Oh, I can just copy paste this. Easy.
Yeah. And I guess this is what we need. Let's take a look. And we now basically, we still have the same information, but grouped differently.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
We still can copy this line to jump. If we go to Visual Studio Code, just pasting in that string, hitting enter, and the cursor indeed lands on the interception here. And for completion, test the other one as well. And
do we
the
also
string right here.
want a little bit of like information, like saying, like interception location, like in the printout, so that it's not just the data, but like words. I'm expressing myself so well today. I blame it on my missing wisdom due to my missing wisdom tooth, but I think it's just me.
I closed the window, so yeah. So you mean having like some text here that says
exactly.
Yes, I guess we could, but since this also, well, this could be long, so I'm now thinking yes.
Okay.
Yes, this could be helpful, but then the output gets longer. I am a little bit torn. Well,
what about
why
some
not
text
both?
in the okay.
Why not both? What if we do it like this? If we say location and indent this by one more, perhaps like so.
Yeah, I mean, we have location. I think maybe let's have location like one level above, so we only have it once, and have it maybe locations, or location with an optional S. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, it's like location.
Or shall we call it interceptions to be?
Yep.
But we need this per, yes.
File.
So we have interceptions. And do we also want to print the method, because also like my interceptor method. So the what information do we have? Because that's actually is only the file path. Let's see. I'll just print a bunch of information and then we can group it. So we have basically the pasteable information. We also could print the actual call site that is intercepted, so the method that we intercept. And we could also, not sure if this is helpful, but we could, actually we currently can't because we lose the information about the interceptor. But let's just briefly, what if we, because the interceptor now doesn't know it's interceptor, does it? Well, maybe, I guess that's not important, is it? No, well, we didn't list it. Or did we? Not sure if this is, do we want to print out the information about the interceptor method as well? Not sure if this is helpful, but let's see.
I think it would be quite a lot of information.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So do we also want to print in the method that is intercepted, in that case, the map get? So not only the location that we can paste in to jump to that location, but also the method that is intercepted, in that case, the map get.
Yeah, I think that would be useful because, maybe you'll get a sense of what is at the location before you have to jump to the location. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that the interceptor would also, well, maybe we could control this by parameters that we pass in, or by arguments that we pass into the command line to basically state, to get like the full-blown info or a bit of a shorter a thing. So I'm now thinking, should we go minimal per default, or should we go maximum per default and then later on either we reduce or expand with additional attributes? What should be the default, maximum information or minimal information? I'm uncertain.
I mean, I'm torn because I think, like, as somebody who would use it, I would like to sort of see an output that's super easy to read, that I'd understand immediately, and that would sort of argue for shorter output because shorter stuff is always easy to read. But as, somebody who's also helped build this project, I obviously want to show all the cool stuff that we have. So I just want to show everything. And I mean, maybe we can also like make it, because we have already made it so much more visually what is the word? Like better, visually better or clearer, I suppose. Maybe we can pull it off. Right? What do you think?
I also want to show everything because we have the information available.
Yeah. Okay.
But now we need to, since we do
can we do different colors?
Oh, yes, we could. Yes, we could. We could do coloring. And yes, we could. Yeah, of course.
Would that help? Or would that be more
most likely. Like, what should be colored? Should we color per? Well, let's put in the information. So if we want to put out the information of the or maybe that's fine. Maybe that's the most important info that we have. How should we color that? I think we have somewhere, and did we create an overload to also print colors? We can white. Yes, we can. Console color. So should we? And the thing is, now we basically lose the information about, with this select many, we lose the information about the interceptor because we group that away. We only have the interceptions. And I'm wondering if there is a best of both kind of way that we still have, because the interception doesn't know where it's intercepted from. Well, I guess we could pass that. We could I'm not certain which constructor is called, but we could once we let's go to interceptor, and we are adding interceptor infos, and each interceptor info could additionally, well, just a little bit of a hacking, but let's see how this goes. Let's make that internal. Let's not expose that, and we call the interceptor. No, that's the interceptor. Okay, interception, of course. And the interception also gets the interceptor and when we add to the interceptor a new interception, we just set that the interceptor is this. And now we should also have available the interceptor, so we could print that info too and say we get the first and do no. I thought, is this not? Oh, that doesn't work because it's internal. It must be public. But let's do the set internal. Now we dot interceptor. Okay, the interceptor has like something like this: the document that the interceptor is in, and maybe its signature method. And now we have like most information. And I guess coloring now could be very helpful. So we get the look. This is the intercept where the interception are happening. Okay, I guess also now the grouping is a little bit weird. Yeah. Because I think this doesn't really combine super well. If we group by.
Sorry, can you walk me through it once? Because I don't quite understand what
So here we have the document that the interceptor is, when interception is going on.
Yeah.
Now we list the document where the interceptor is in. You know what? That's actually the problem. Yeah. So we console.writeline. This will be the interception in. Then we have the
intercepted from by. No.
From. Exactly. And then we have the actual. This is again interception. This is not interception at, basically. Interceptions at.
Then let's write like intercepted from maybe first. So we've got from where in here at this situation, at this point.
Oh, this is really confusing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and now I guess now the grouping is yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Oh my god, you trust me with copy pasting your code.
So the other way around, yeah.
Because now interception are at least close. And now if we color code it, it could work. It could work. I swear.
So we have the intercepted from This will be the document where the interception is going on. Well, the thing is this really helpful? So this document does not really exist. It is when we go into the Solution Explorer, we can do the same thing in Writer as well. We don't have the project loaded, but we would basically find it via that. So basically we would go to the analyzer that source generator is technically an analyzer. So we go to the analyzer that has the source generators that creates interception, and then by that navigate to this document. So we can't really directly navigate to this document, and maybe that's an indicator that we should not do that because it's not so apparent. Because we need to. Well, maybe that's an indicator that we should have. Maybe we should have like a parameter that we can pass with the attributes via the command line arguments. Basically, the thing that we group by. So we either group by interceptors or we group by interceptions. Because what we do right now is kind of trying both in one, and maybe this just doesn't work, as we see. And
I just turn it around a little bit, because you're right, we're grouping at interceptions. That's the most important thing, and this is just us showing off a little bit, so I put it at the end.
yes indeed. So we have basically what we had before. We just list the intercept.
I like the words, the text.
Excuse me. Also, okay. Intercepted in. Interceptions in. And then we list, I guess we only need this once, because that's always the same. Let's do it like a title. We have interceptions in. The document, and then we list per document the interceptions. And we only list interception info, not interceptor info. So we have interceptions in. This will be the first document where we have 2 interceptions and the method that is intercepted. And maybe with a switch, we could basically restore what we had previously, like the non-group by thing, but the forward thing that we had previously. So we go result interceptions. No, result interceptors. This is an interceptor into interceptions. And this is now listing the interceptor. And we now do it on basically from an interceptor point of view. And maybe this is like the 2 parameters that we have. We either have the grouped by intercepted or grouped by interceptor. Maybe let's write that out. We still have to do that, but to do this will be by interceptor. I just hit F1. Interception by interception. And the other one will be by interceptor. And okay, now we have the interceptor. The interceptor could now be the document. And then the interceptors that it has with, hold on, that's an interceptor. Oh, that's an interceptor. So that's an interceptor method. And we print that information and what it is intercepting. So maybe something like this. And Eggplant Training has just joined.
Hello! We were talking about you earlier this stream.
Everyone's favorite key binding. We did some. We were thinking about you. We did some linking, select many, and group buying.
I did it. I wrote it by myself, almost, more or less. I was very good today with link. Better than usual. Very good for my standards.
Well, it gets better every time.
Yes, it does. I think it does. I see progress.
We could introduce a switch by having both groupings, so we can basically present the info to the user how they kind of think about it, and either from an interception top level point of view, or from an interceptor view, where we list first the documents that contain interceptors and then see what they intercept. How do you like that?
I love it. I still think we could use more text.
Cool.
I think maybe you can do like, because this probably doesn't happen to people who sort of look at stuff like that every day, but like for me, like when I first looked at it, because the method also starts with a file path something, right?
I guess, yeah, maybe we should maybe we just have a little bit too.
Yeah, so for me, I just see multiple file paths which are like not in the same indentation. So maybe with the method we can just write method. What is the 2 dots?
Excuse me?
What are the 2 dots? Doppelpunkt?
Colon.
Colon. There you go. Then so method colon and then the output. Something like that, maybe. You know what I mean?
No.
You don't.
Please go ahead.
Right. Where are we? Oh, I'm on this. Okay. So we are in here, interceptions, and so we've got the file path, then the file of the interceptions. Then second we have the location, and here we have the method.
Yes.
So can we write?
Sure.
Column.
Mm-hmm.
Like this. Or is that bad? Does that not look
Let's see.
to your eyes?
So we have interceptions in, then program CS, like the thing that we can copy paste to get to the exact location and see the method that is intercepted.
I like it.
Cool. Then, sweet. Which should be the default? And the other one we can then enable by a switch. The interceptions grouped by the documents we have interceptions in, or by the documents that contain interceptors. So more from a do we treat the generated and the interceptor code as the first key, or do we treat the intercepted user code as the first key? What should be the default, in your opinion, or in the opinion of viewers? What would be more helpful to start with, and then have the other option as an option?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the first what we sort of show the interceptions where they are, and there you can actually jump to them and jump to the method and have a look at that. Especially since you sort of showed before that you have to go kind of somewhere, I don't know, it's quite tricky to go actually get into those interceptors files. And again, I don't think I could do it on my own. So yeah, I think the information that's more inclusive and for everybody, beginners and more advanced coders, is to go with the interceptions first as default. That's default. Yeah.
I guess also
what I'm open for discussion.
I guess also what we could do, we could cut off the project path. But I guess this is something that we could do a little bit afterwards to still complete our journey today, to shorten this document, and because every interception or every interception starts with the same path, because that's just the path of the project. This will always be the same. So we just extract this once and then just print the rest, and I guess we're fine.
I
but
just
there's a
saw
bit
in the
of
comments
optimization.
that Eric's very glad that I slow you down sometimes. I really, sometimes you should have, like, you should see as if when it's just the two of us, I literally ask him to, like, about almost every single line that he says. And he's very kind and repeats it a million times until I understand it as well. So.
Thanks for your feedback. I guess
I think I don't think
would,
it's like your speed or something like that. I think people who are like very knowledgeable in this field, like they can follow you no problem. But people like Eric and myself, we need to hear it. We need to hear it 2 or 3 times at least in order to for it to sink in.
And Actor in Training loves Link.
Yes, he does.
we did tease in the beginning too that there may be there will be in the next season a Link exclusive session.
Yes.
And about everything Link and lambdas and generics and what was that? Now I can't think of it. The in and out variants. Oh, a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So I'll do a little bit to do. Cut off. I only show relative path to the project's location because that is sufficient. Maybe we can add an option, show full path, something like this, but by default, we're going to show the relative path, default relative path only, and to offer various options. Cool. But the last step that we promised and have not followed up with yet is writing a test for that.
Oh, yes, of course.
Because we also want to have that as an automated test that will fail if something is not working as intended. Let's run all of our tests. I guess we should have someone failing as well already. Can I refer to a test as someone?
No.
Any test failing. Something.
I think. One of them, I suppose, failing. That's
and
it is failing. Woohoo!
But we just Visual Studio's go-to feature is not working.
Nice.
Go to test. Oi.
Uh-oh.
I need to go to it manually. List with generators. Okay, cool. There's a skip test. Let's unskip that. And let's recreate the example we had, the benchmarking example that we had in the beginning. So we basically do so first is the document text. Okay. So let's say we're using system. We will be in some namespace, my namespace. We have a static class, my class. We have a method, my method. And we invoke those two. Enum is defined and oops. Enum is defined. Okay, let's discard these. And I guess we don't need that. The generic here is optional. And we call not into the generated one, but into the one that we intercept, get enum, and let's use an existing enum. Let's do string comparison. Or let's do, I think, what is a really, really well-known enum? Can you think of a really, really well-known enum that nobody knows? What is the first enum we think about when I say enum?
Are error codes enums?
There is none. There's like a datetime kind, which is local UTC or undefined. There is string comparison, which is current culture or invariant culture or ignore case. Let's do string comparison. So we pass and string comparison. Excuse me?
No, sounds good. Absolutely.
Okay. So we do string comparison ordinal, ignore ordinal case, and we want to intercept these. So we want to have 2 interceptors in the output. And well, the text should resemble that at some point. So let's give that a name. This will be my class.cs. And this is now an integration test. So this test should now create a project and contain these interceptors. Now, what we have not done yet is actually emit the NuGet package that contains the generators. Just following the setup code here, we create a project. So here we create the CS project, and let's paste it in. Oops. And why did it paste it twice? We don't need benchmark.net. Okay, so we also paste in the package reference to our generators package that contains the generators that generate interceptors. Okay, now that I think about it, it's actually really confusing, isn't it?
It is,
I mean, there's a lot to unpack.
Yes, and also like the similarity of the names is just, I don't know how you always remember it, because it's not the first time that this has happened where we had to sort of like change the names 3 million times, and they all sounded super similar, and you remember them, and I would forget them the minute they were out of my eyesight. Okay, what happened?
I'm uncertain.
Okay.
We get string differs. Okay, so we don't get any output.
Oh.
We do get an error though.
Okay.
And that error says the type or namespace system could not be found. Are you missing a using directive or an assembly reference? Our compilation contains 20 errors. That is bad.
Okay.
Something. This may be a NuGet related problem.
Why? How come?
Well, okay. First, I guess we should target .NET 8. Maybe this, or maybe it's .NET 8. Let's target .NET 8 and C# 12. We were still doing .NET 7 and C# 11. I should debug so that we get the actual output. Still has some invalid operation exception. The system. 20 compilation. So it doesn't find system, which means that there's either something really wrong with the SDK, or something NuGet not lining up nicely. I have the feeling it's NuGet. I'm not. Do we need, since we have NuGet, do we need to restore the project beforehand? Because when we do have a NuGet package, maybe this is not.
What do you mean restore?
So we now add a NuGet package to the project that we generate. So okay, so our test, holding our test.
Yep.
Because we create a physical file here. Let's explore that. And this file and this project contains, let's moving it in. So this is not a project that we generate. Now .NET 8 C# 12, the package, and this my class using namespace public static. So this seems fine.
It looks fine, yeah.
But it still can't find system. So what I assume is that this, because there's something wrong here, that the restore is not happening. So if we now, like in the meantime on this project, now do a .NET restore to basically restore the NuGet package that we added here. So it goes basically to NuGet.org. Well, it first searches, is this package already available on the local machine? There is like local caches for every NuGet package and every version. And if it's not available there, it goes to NuGet.org and downloads the package in this exact version. If it's available in the local machine's cache, then it will be using that.
Okay.
And what we get now, we didn't have this before, is a little OBJ folder where the NuGet restore is happening, and we see there is some new NuGet stuff going on. And I'm wondering if that's related. So if we now continue execution, we still get the same. Ooh, we have less now.
Yay! That's good. Progress. Go in the right direction. Good start.
Excuse me?
What is the error now? Can it still not find?
No, maybe it's still could be NuGet stuff. What I did have the feeling of that I did see some talk time ago which suggested to include NuGet project model, I think.
Okay.
Because we're creating a new workspace, and if this workspace must resolve some NuGet packages, then we need to add this package. And I'm wondering if that's it. Maybe not. I'm kind of guessing right now. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a different error. This does not go as planned.
Let's see how many errors you can get tonight. Sure, the one that you wanted will show up eventually.
Eventually, yeah. Warning. Ooh, okay. Now I just added the package.
That is so cool.
Now we get the output. Okay, so it may have been related that we don't have this NuGet package. Okay, so we now get an output actually. It's not the output that we expect, but also it's empty.
Okay.
It says 0 interceptors. Now, okay, I wasn't thinking about the NuGet package.
Yeah.
So we did need NuGet.project model.
Nice, okay.
But
good thing that you went to see that talk. This is why you should go to meetups and stuff.
Maybe you should refer to the talk because this was from MDC some time ago. Code yourself automate yourself out of a job with Roslyn. Yeah, that's a talk by Mark Wendell, and he's mentioning that very NuGet package. Okay, and now we have the problem that we anticipated. We don't get the interceptors. So if we do our breakpoint where we isn't that, oh, hold on, that's in the core library, of course, our interceptor locator, where we also did some link. We did some link concat in the beginning to group the regular documents and the source generated documents together. And I think this collection now is empty. And I think this is now related to the NuGet restore.
Okay.
Where we actually wanted to basically build up to. Because generated documents, if we take a look at that, is yielded no results. It's super empty.
Yeah.
If we were to basically play the same game again that we did earlier, have the breakpoint here, run the test, let the test create a new project.
Yep.
Now at this location, we go to that location. We do a .NET restore on that location. Now we get the OBJ and everything has been restored, because I think the workspace doesn't do NuGet restore actually, so we need to restore it manually. And if we continue execution now, did I remove the breakpoint? I did. Where was that? Interceptor locator. Why did I remove the breakpoint? There we go. Okay. One more time.
One more time. Is that a song? Or did I just make it up? I think it's a song.
I believe so. Sounds like a song.
It is now by Millie Eva. You're welcome.
Of course, we're not intending to do any copyright infringements here.
Oh my god. Okay.
I don't know. Just be on the safe side.
Covered by Millie Eva.
So, okay. Integration test creates a new project from blank, just adds the CS proj and the CS file. And we now, in between, did a restore manually. And if we step now into a logic, so on a new project that has been restored, now we, yes, do have this enum interceptor actually being generated.
Yep.
So our integration tests are lacking in between a step where we restore the physical project that we create quite manually, since we're basically just writing text onto the disk, which happened to be a CSproj file and a .cs file. And now we need to do a manual restore for the integration test to have this test succeed. Okay. And well, we prepared this for a little bit. Can you recall what we want to do? So basically, this will be still in our arrange. We now physically created a project, and now I want to restore that project. So basically, what we do want to call is a .NET restore, but with the working directory set to wherever this project is in. And in best case, asynchronously, so that we don't block the thread and other tests can do their job on the machine in the meantime.
Yes. Basically, there was something. Okay, so we need to have .NET restore. I get that, but we need to.
Yes, well, we can. Yes, but we can assume .NET is available because otherwise we couldn't run this XUnit test in the first place.
Okay.
So let's assume we have .NET installed. And now we want to start a new process that runs a .NET restore.
All right. I can do this. A new process. Does that mean a new process?
Let's start a new process. Yeah.
Okay. Is that?
And await its completion.
So, is process, is that a type? No.
Process is a type, yes. It's somewhere in system. It's somewhere in system. I don't know. So let's do in system.diagnostics.
Nice.
Is that now included? I hit Control dot. Let's do it one more time. System.diagnostics. There we go.
Okay. All right, and then we need. Can I do P? No.
No. We first need to create this process, and there should be like a factory method that starts a new process. Yeah.
That's also what autocomplete suggested. I do. And then what do we want to start with? But basically, we want to start .NET restore.
Yes. Yes. So what start takes is, well, either nothing, which is just returns true. Not sure what that is actually good for. Oh no, hold on. That's the member method. We want to look into the static start process, which are not here. Let's just enter something so that the binding works and we can have 12 into it. So what we pass is either just a file name. In our case, it's .NET. Well, it's a file name, but well, it's called file name. But since we have .NET installed and the environment variables will turn .NET into wherever .NET is installed on my local machine, so we just write .NET as a file name.
Okay.
And then we can pass a string with arguments. In our case, singular argument with restore. But then we haven't solved the working directory yet, because it will be the current working directory of the current process. I think, I'm not entirely certain what the working directory will be. So there is another overload that takes a process start info, via which you can set a lot information for the process to start. It is very similar. It also has constructors that take the file name and the arguments, but it has a ton of properties to set where we can control additional information, such as if we want to redirect the output and the input of this new process that we start. So we could create a new process, redirect the output, which is basically consoler.writelines, and then reroute them into our current command line application and process in our unit test, actually, if we want to do that. We can also set the working directory, which is what we want to do. You can also do something with username if it's about the local what's it called? Security permissions kind of a thing. So there's a lot you can do via this process start info. So let's start with a process start info and pass that to the process start.
All right. So process start info, and we call it info. And then we need new keyword, or do we need only angle brackets?
No, because this is not a collection.
Oh, okay.
Therefore, we need the new.
Okay.
To invoke the constructor of this object.
Invoke the constructor, and you basically already told me what we have to put in the constructor, right? Which is the file name or whatever it said, and the what we want to do, which is restore.
Cool. So we now start a new process. So no, we still have to pass the info. Yeah.
And you also mentioned something about the working directory.
Just give it an start the process. There is a warning. I do not know that warning. Oh, we have some null. Oh, process start maybe turn null. Interesting. I did not know that. Okay. So yes, I think the problem that we could run in now is timing, because process.start really just starts the process. Is that it does not await its completion. So if we were to, you can also clean your, I mentioned the local NuGet caches. So we could go to .NET NuGet. I always forget. Let's ask for help. Locals. .NET NuGet locals. So the machine's cache of the NuGet packages. List, I think. And we could list the caches, but we can also clear the cache. So let's get rid of my local cache, as if I had .NET installed the first time, never installed a package, and then then I need to go to the internet, to NuGet.org, in order to download the package for the first time. So let's clear all packages. That's a -- clear.
Okay, but do we need to do that right before each test, or just
No. Okay. I will just simulate now the worst case, as if we are now running this test on a CI, which is a brand new machine where no .NET Restore has ever run, and definitely no .NET Restore that restores the flashover.generators package in version 1.0.0 pre-release 1. Pre-release 0, I'm not sure I called it anyway. And so we assume it's not there, therefore we need to go to the web to grab it, which takes some time. And if we do not await
got
that operation, now if we run the test, I assume that even though we do a restore, I guess, so we now may have a bit of a waste condition. Is the restore complete before we create the workspace that holds the information, or no, it's not the workspace, before we open the project via the workspace that has the information about the generator and the generated documents, or afterwards? And I assume, I haven't tried this before, yeah, we do have a bit of a waste condition and doesn't yield the results again. So the restore now didn't have an effect. Something. We need to await, because this is why it's called start. It just starts a new process. So we need to wait for it to complete.
It says...
you get auto completion?
Yeah, wait for exit.
Yes, we could use wait for exit, but wait for exit is synchronous and blocking the current thread. There is an async overload that I just learned about by preparing for this stream. And now, indeed, F1 is my favorite key binding.
Yay!
So this was added rather recently in .NET 5, the async overload.
Okay. And before we also said async and we passed in a cancellation token, do we have to do that here as well?
I'm wondering, okay, we do not have a cancellation token here.
Oh.
What we could do is setting a bit of a timeout. So, yes, cancellation token. We don't have a cancellation token here, but we can create our own cancellation token that is based on a timeout. And we can do that via a cancellation token source. So would you mind trying to create a new instance of the type cancellation token source?
Yes.
I think we haven't had a look at cancellation token source yet, but
no.
This type is, as it suggests, the source of a cancellation token. And via this cancellation token source, you can cancel the token that it owns manually or via a timer. And
just like this, or do I have to do the new?
Let's just create a new instance.
New. But is this something I can just do angle brackets on?
No, because it's not a collection. Angle brackets you can only do if it's a collection, like an array or a list or an immutable array or collection, anything collection-like.
That's fine. I'm not disappointed. No, what is it? I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
And there is one overload that takes a time span, the delay, that basically is setting a timeout when the cancellation token that this source is owning is canceled. So we can now call here time span dot. So we create a new time span. So what is...
Sorry, what do we call it?
Basically just passing it to the constructor. So we can say time span dot. And how long should the timeout be? Like maybe the internet connection is dramatically slow. What would be the top that we allow?
The top. Like...
Well, we could do it like 2 minutes, but then the test could pause for 2 minutes before we understand that no internet connection is there in the first place.
I think I was going to say 1 minute, but even that seemed very long to me. But I am so impatient. There's a from minutes. Should I do that? From minutes?
There is a lot of, so you can do from minutes, from seconds, from milliseconds, from days, I think, yes. Let's start with a minute, yes. So this will now, and now the cancellation token source has the token that we can pass in to wait for exit async. Oops, which is just token, yes. The thing is, one more caveat. Is that a caveat? One thing to watch out for, since we do now, this under the hood spawns a timer. And this timer is now running for a minute. But when we do, now this task that we get from wait for exit async is now completing either when this process has completed or when the timeout has completed, whatever comes first. We'll complete the task and then we move on. And if the task is completing here through the wait for async and not through the timeout, then the timer is actually still running. but we don't need it anymore. And this is why we want to definitely dispose this timer. And this is why cancellation token source is implementing iDisposable, so that we can dispose every resources that this type is allocating, one of which, in this case, the timer under the hood. So we either want to call dispose on that or use the using statement declaration, using declaration. Have you used that before? Have you used
Yeah,
a
we have done
using
it
here
on the
before?
stream, but
Oh, yes.
I cannot remember.
So just
But
putting a
yeah,
using before.
before where?
Before the declaration of the token source.
For the declaration of the token source.
So just at the beginning of this line, we put using.
At the beginning of this line. I can do this. Oh my god. Yes.
And the thing is now, basically what the compiler creates here is a try catch over all of this code and then finally disposing whatever this resource is. So at the end of the method, well, we don't dispose it as fast as possible, but at the end of the method. If we want to dispose it as soon as possible, then we would want to basically have this in a block. So this is now, the shorthand version was the using declaration, being the dispose, it's the end of the enclosing scope, which was here the end of the method. Or if we can also explicitly state the scope. And what am I doing wrong? Oh, because this is, of course, this needs parentheses. And now I'm embarrassed. Yes. And now this cancellation token source is disposed after the await. So that we get rid of the timer as soon as possible. And
sorry, like if you didn't want to use the using, we could just after the await go token source dot dispose.
We could also manually call the dispose, yes.
Right? Okay.
We could also manually call this. But let's take a look at, I'm glad you asked, because this gives me now a reason to spawn sharplab.io, favorite site. And if we have a disposable, let's define our own disposable. Class my disposable. It implements iDisposable. iDisposable. So yes, let's implement iDisposable. It throws, it doesn't really matter. Let's now have a using my disposable. Let's create that. And now let's do a console.write line here. Let's do one here. And what we see now is this is what the compiler turns this using declaration. This works because this is disposable. If it wasn't implementing dispose, the compiler would say here, no, I can't do a using around this, something which is not disposable. And what it does is now basically everything that comes after until the end of the method. So if we're adding multiples, then all of these console write lines are now within a try block. And in the finally now the dispose is happening, which is ensuring that the dispose is always called, even if we throw exception here. We should never throw just a blank exception. Let's do an invalid operation exception. Or let's do something cool. Let's say 5 divided by 0. The compiler is catching that. Let's assume we can pass in any integer. And that's not a division, that's a division. And what if the user is passing here a 0, which is a valid integer? We would throw here an a division by 0 exception. Okay. And even if this was throwing, the finally would still be executed. Well, we still have an exception going on, but the caller of M could catch that. But we made sure that this disposable is disposed indeed due to the generated try finally. Now we could write this ourselves, but this pattern is very, very common to have a try block and then in the finally dispose the resource so that there's a language feature around that. Okay. And if we want to explicit,
with the something.dispose, what I wrote before,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have this finally, right? Like if it crashes before that line.
You could do it yourself. Disposable.dispose. Now we don't get any of this generated code. It's just the same code that we wrote ourselves.
But now if it crashes, does it still
Now,
dispose?
yes. Now if we throw here, the rest of the code is not executed, and that includes the dispose. So this resource is never disposed and could potentially leak some resources or memory.
Oh no. Okay.
Which we want to avoid. So it's always a good
pattern. So I
pattern
need to remember the using thing. What is it called?
It's in most of the cases. Well, if you're 100% certain that the code cannot throw that you have, then you can do it manually and avoid the pattern.
My code can always throw. There's one thing I'm certain about.
But if the code may throw, we should wrap it in a try finally, and that's what the using is for. And we can also wrap it if we don't want to have the enclosing scope as the scope of the dispose. So in this case, basically everything that comes afterwards. So if we have a console write line before, that of course comes before. And if we do a using declaration, it will be just called at the end of the method, at the end of the enclosing scope. In this case, the method, the enclosing scope. If we want to explicitly set the scope, we can do a using statement by putting into parentheses and then have our own parentheses and maybe do it like this. So we now only the first console write line and the division is in the try finally, and the rest of the code is just continuing regularly to keep the scope of the generated try smaller. So those are the two variants how to use the using. So we have a using here, that's a using, I can't think of it, using declaration, and we have here either using statement or using declaration. No, hold on, that's not a using declaration. Directive, thank you very much. Oh, hey, now I'm confused. Yeah, so many words. This is a directive.
This is why I didn't remember it from the last time.
Directive. Here we have a statement, and just using. Now this is a declaration, using declaration. Okay, so many words.
Okay.
Long story short, I hope this actually works.
No, it's a nice sidetrack. Thanks for explaining, actually. Really useful.
Anytime. So this should now wait until this completes, and we should have our documents, and it yielded no results. Now that's embarrassing. Ooh! I believe this process fails dramatically.
Oh.
Perhaps we should wait, observe its. Is there something like? Can we find out whether it has completed successfully? We could get a hold of the error of the status, I suppose. The code, return code, exit code. And if that exit code is not 0, then throw invalid operation exception. Error happened. Which I expect to happen. Error happened indeed. Oops. How did it? Yeah, error happened because we are not setting the working directory yet. So we're calling .NET restore somewhere where no project is. So we want to set the working directory of the .NET restore we want to call it, which will be this project here.
Okay.
So info should have a working directory.
Let me just follow you. I'm again somewhere. Ah, I'm back. Hello. Yes. And now I'm going to speak in the microphone as well. Woohoo! Okay, so in info you said it should be a working directory. There is indeed. And then we want to set this working directory.
I'll just paste it in because I got it already. Project dot, and this should have a file path.
Oh, project dot. It has file. Dot
It has
path?
file.
No.
Okay, yes. Okay, hold on. So this is not a file path. So that's .cs project, but we don't want to set it to the CS project. We want to set it to the directory that the CS project is contained. I don't think this is available. Oh,
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Have a little faith.
Cool. I didn't know that. Amazing. Yeah, let's give that a try. Get directory name. Cool. I thought this was a property. There is file.directory name. But, is this internal? Okay, cool. And now we don't get this. Now we get actually warning interceptors are experimental. So
I love that
we
warning.
do get an output.
Such an adventurous person every time I get it. It's like.
And now, wait, long story short, we now have our enum interceptor again.
Woohoo! Amazing.
So our tool requires a restore before to happen. We haven't solved how to do that via the MS Build workspace. I think the MS Build workspace can't do that, so we would need some manual thing. Let's currently not include this in the tool. Perhaps later on we could expand the tool to do it implicitly as well. But for now, like the user has first to restore the project, and then they can use NuGet consumed generators and understand the interceptors that it has and then print into the console. And all that's left is now for the test is to basically expect the right text.
Oh.
Maybe let's do that to have but just just copy paste it because there's a lot of strings going on.
Yep. Wow.
Integration test. And does it contain the new line? And let's see if that is passing.
Oh my god.
So this is not
the
interceptors. Maybe, yeah. So this is, oh no, hold on, this will fail dramatically because that's a generated path. I guess now if we would have done what we will do is to basically only use the relative path to cut off this generated path that we have in our, because that's like our Scratch directory that we create.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wouldn't run into this issue. Well, currently we do, but the basic functionality is complete. Yeah, now we see the difference is in the generated timestamp that we have for the document. But the basic functionality is working. We have in 3 sessions built with a lot of help from different people. Live and off screen. I have a tool that lists all available interceptors and the locations that they intercept.
That's awesome.
And I guess we do just a little bit of cleanup, getting the output a little bit shorter, but the basic functionality will remain, and push that in maybe a week or so to NuGet for everybody to give it a try and see if it is really working out in the wild as well.
Little Christmas present to all of
you. Ooh. Do we do a deadline?
Yeah. 24th of December is the deadline. Imagine it. I could just give everyone in my family here's a tool.
Let's see. Use an actual NuGet package that contains an interceptor. We did that. Test against the native AOT. We did that. Here was the comment. If that doesn't work, we need to compile the project and so on. And display the methods that are intercepted. So we got rid of the to-dos. Just some cleanup. Clean up output and release before the 20th. Oh, do we release it at the 24th?
I mean, before the 24th? I'm going to be very busy on that day. I will not be releasing anything.
Before the 24th.
I'm hosting Christmas for my family, so I will be very busy on that day.
And
yes, because also in Central Europe, we celebrate on the 24th in the evening, not on the 25th. So, but yeah, that's why.
Well, on the 6th is Nikolaus, right? Maybe Nikolaus is well the German.
Or for Krampus.
Krampus, because Are we on the naughty list?
I am for sure. I'm not sure about you. Maybe I drag you with me.
Well,
to the dark side.
Yeah, there is a warning. Dereference of possibly null reference. Yes, I'm on the naughty list.
Oh, yeah. Oh no.
Eggplant training is writing 1 millisecond. Nobody got time to wait. Is a minute perhaps a little bit too long? What would be a realistic?
It's long. 30 seconds.
Let's give that a try. I'll clean my NuGet caches again, and let's go to this console project that has. Well, it also has benchmarks. Yeah, okay. Let's request 2 packages, not just 1. And let's do a .NET restore on that. I don't have any. Oh, I should also clean the output here, shouldn't I? Okay, let's get it. Let's get it real clean. So, okay, clean my locals. Basically, get rid of all of the generated documents. So we have a super blank project. Nothing has been built. Now let's do a .NET and see how long this takes.
Did you put on a timer? No.
Not at all. But it. Cool. 4.79 seconds.
Oh, okay. The time itself.
Should we stop? If we are on some machine who knows where the machine is in and how busy the internet is, should we like double it or quadruple it?
15 seconds.
15 seconds.
15 seconds. So that would be seconds. And then
I'm searching the code. Yes, indeed. You can use the from seconds.
I did 15. Oh, it just takes ages.
Technically, you could also do.
Oh, no.
No. It's perfect. Just technically, because this from minutes, this is taking doubles. For .NET 9, there will be, I think this has been approved, so we may have this in the first preview of .NET 9. There was a review going on. There will be many new overloads for this from the date time span from whatever overloads. There will be many new overloads. Currently, they only allow a double. So what we could technically do from minutes and then do 0. What's that? That's 25. Yes, but from seconds, 15 is more readable. And since it's a double, and there is some corner cases where there may be some rounding errors and stuff going on, it's also the most precise. So
yes,
just want to highlight that this currently is a double, but in .NET 9, perhaps in .NET 9, so it's just a year, that's just 350 something days, we get many more overloads to time span .from, maybe, most likely, because they discussed it like already.
Underneath the new?
I think to combine the working directory into an object initializer.
Oh.
Since if we basically create an instance of an object and then immediately afterwards use that instance to set accessible properties, this could be combined in an object initializer, which does the very same. So again, I guess syntactic sugar to do the very same thing.
Okay, sounds good.
But it now looks like the cool thing about that is now it's more of a. It's not atomic. Atomic is the wrong word, but it's now one expression. So we can't use afterwards. After here, the info is now is completed. We set all the properties that we want. Technically, here in between, we could do something else. And this is basically, I think, or this is how I see this feature, is to basically signify that this should be one block of initialization. And then afterwards, the object is usable. What the compiler is turning it into is exactly that, because this is what's going on under the hood. This is just syntactic sugar. Very delicious syntactic sugar, though.
One more warning, because there is also a little line in.
Oh, yeah, the nullable. You're 100% right. Oh, you really want to get me off that naughty list.
Yeah.
This may return null, but I do not know why. Let's see under which circumstances, let's go to the documentation. Process.start may return null. A new process that is associated with the process resource, or null if no process resource is started. Okay, so maybe if we enter something bad, like .NET doesn't exist, would this be now null, and would we run into a null reference exception now? I can imagine. Oh, of course, this took so long because now all the NuGet packages and unit and everything had to be downloaded, yeah. An error occurred trying to start the process, start new. Okay, no, that's a different error. But let's do that. Let's say if P is null, we throw a new invalid operation exception and saying like process info. What did the documentation say? Is not started. If no process resource is started. No process resource is started.
Oh.
Colon, and let's say info dot file name. Can we get like this as a string? I'm wondering if there is.
There was
is this
two string,
is this
isn't there?
two stringable? Well, there is always a toString because toString is an object. You always have a toString. The question is toString overloaded? And it's not, because we see that's an object. So it will, the default toString will just print its type name. There is verbs, but I think it's type. Opening the application document. Or we could do verbs and info dot arguments. I think arguments list arguments. Let's do it like that. And let's just throw this exception. If it is not null, let's invert it. So we get this exception and see if something may be going wrong, that we get an exception that helps us. No process resource is started. It says just restore because there is no verb. Then let's do the file name. And this should be it. No process resource started. .NET restore.
Nice.
And let's fix that. And now the warning
is gone.
And we have no issues found.
No issues.
And hopefully Krampus is now not coming for us.
Yeah.
Well,
hopefully.
If Krampus is coming, it will be not
for our code.
Due to the quality of our code. It will be something else.
Indeed. Okay. Is that a good point to call it a day?
I think it's an excellent point to call it a day.
Awesome. Then, yeah, I think we did really great progress. I'm very proud of my Lambda function today. And learned some new words. Discard, I learned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What did you learn, Stefan? Did you learn?
No, never. I never know everything. That the MS Build workspace is not restoring NuGet packages, and that there is a difference, so that we need to do this manually or assume it has been done, and that the source generator created document are treated differently than the rest of the documents.
Awesome. Loads of learnings here. Great. So if you would like to keep in touch with upcoming shows, upcoming guests, upcoming topics, please give us a follow on any social media of your liking. We're pretty much everywhere. And we'll also always tell you when our next show is going to be there. But obviously, we do have a sneak peek prepared for you as well. When is our next show coming up?
It will be in
20th.
Is that in 20 days? 20.
Almost, yeah.
2. Yes, it's in
More
20
than that.
days.
Yeah.
On Wednesday the 20th. Yeah.
Yes. So just before Christmas, a little Christmas special from us. And if you crave any content until then, we've got a couple of creators I would like to recommend, because there's this advent calendar, C# advent calendar, and basically every day you've got, I think, 2 presenters, and loads of different content all around C# and .NET. And there are also some celebrities, as always. Where are they? Coming up. Oh, we went past the celebrities.
There we go.
There we are.
Yeah. So this is related on the 20th. We have our show there.
Yeah, so we'd love to see loads of you there. So please stop by if you're free and in a Christmassy spirit.
I wonder what's coming out on the 24th.
Yeah.
By Stephen Cleary. This may be something with async and or performance. I do not know. I'm guessing here. Okay, but there is some just from the names. I will observe every day, because there is that's all known names. Yeah, that's amazing. That great content coming. And then it's 25th, then the year is over.
What, so the year?
Almost. 2023 is then, our season 2023 then will conclude on the 20th. So we will do a little bit of a roundup of, that was a year now. Wow, time is passing so quickly. What really we built over the year, and what we learned, and maybe also something new. Let's see.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually really looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun episode. So stop by, and maybe I'll whack out my Christmas hat again. That's what I did last year. So we'll see if I'm brave enough.
I currently. The only Christmas spirit I currently have is like a chocolate Christmas calendar I got as a gift. We did wear last year a hat. I need to find mine too. Yeah.
We'll find it until next time. Awesome. Well,
Eric, you're very welcome. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is what makes this really fun.
No, it really is. Thank you so much to everybody who's spent the evening with us. It really means the world to us, and it's so much fun. I can't even convey how much fun it is to sort of get together, not just with Stefan, who's obviously awesome, but with all of you. And we've mentioned it before, people who actually put in pull requests to our tool and stuff. It literally, it's such a nice feeling, and it's really nice to be part of this community, really. So thank you so much, and we hope you also learned something new. And see you next time.
We'll be back.